Hi, I'm Gretchen Spiker with the City of Topeka.
And I'm India Yarborough with the Greater Topeka Partnership.
The Topeka Talk podcast is back for Season 2 for more meaningful community conversations.
We've got a great lineup in store, and we're excited to have you along for the ride this season.
Washburn University recently made a huge announcement that is going to be a game changer for young people in Shawnee County. In today's episode, we'll be talking all about it, and we're thrilled to have some very special guests in the studio to help share the exciting news.
That's right, India. For this episode, we're joined by two Washburn representatives, Dr. JuliAnn Mazachek, president of Washburn University, and Dr. Alan Bearman, Washburn's new vice president for strategic enrollment management. Dr. Mazachek, Dr. Bearman, welcome to the Topeka Talk podcast.
Thank you so much for letting us be here today and talk about something that we are so excited about for Washburn University and for Shawnee County and for our future.
We're so thrilled.
Yeah, thank you. It's great news for Washburn. It's great news for Shawnee County. So the chance to talk about it with you is really great.
That's wonderful. Well, there's so much to cover today, so let's just dive right in here. On May 4th, you all announced that there have been some major new investments in Shawnee County students with the Washburn Shawnee County Thrive Scholarship, as well as the Washburn Shawnee County Promise Scholarship. And I've just got to say, being in attendance at that announcement, the energy in the room was amazing. It was a packed house. Truly incredible. Students, elected officials, community leaders. You had to be there, but
it was amazing, actually.
It really was. It really was. Well, I'd love to hear a little bit more about each of those scholarships that you guys announced early in May. What can each of you tell us about these scholarships? How do they work and how do they differ?
So first, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Bearman in just a moment, but I do want to say that the May 4th event was so exciting for so many reasons. And then I don't know if you even noticed while you were there that we had students in the audience, and students were finding out for the very first time that they were going to get some scholarships. But I want to attribute all of this to the fact that Shawnee County is growing. And the only way that this was possible was because of that. And so one of our three streams of revenue that comes to Washburn University, very important stream, of course, comes from support from Shawnee County. And with the growth that we've had in the last 2 years, we're able to fund this amazing scholarship. We took that growth and we're able to do that. And the only way that we could do that is because it allowed us to continue to do everything else we're already doing. And so we're very excited to be able to offer this to our Shawnee County students. And the reality is, we have great young people here, and for Topeka to grow in the future, we need to keep them here. We need to keep our homegrown talent right here, and we need to make sure that people who thought that higher education was not a pathway for them, whether it's technical programs or it's associate degrees or bachelor's degrees, that they know that they have a way to get that education right here in Shawnee County while they stay at home, and then while they take their jobs right here in Shawnee County when they graduate.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would just tell you, I would add to that, the morning after the announcement, I was at Topeka High School and got to tell a student and her mother, these were the first people out in the high schools we got to tell that they would be able to come to Washburn tuition free. And the emotion in that moment, this was a student who has a 3.7 GPA, has done exceptionally well in high school, was genuinely, did not believe they could go to university, did not believe it was within their cost, they couldn't afford it. So we got to tell that student and the mother the next morning, and the tears were flowing. It was just it was an amazing moment, because that's a young lady who will come to Washburn University tuition free and then graduate and work in our community, and that's an exciting place to be. So it's there's a lot of energy around this.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I want to add to that the emotion has been a little bit overwhelming for all of us.
Yeah.
Because you realize that, and I will explain the scholarships in just a minute.
Perfect.
But you realize that you're not only changing our communities, but you are changing individuals' lives. You are changing families' lives. You're changing futures.
Of course,
And it is, and it is so overwhelming. The joy is overwhelming to know that you can be a part of doing something like that and creating those opportunities. And I think we saw that at the announcement. You saw tears that day too. And even by us crazy adults, we feel exactly the same way, because we know the difference that we're going to make in the future. And we're going to look back 5, 7, 10 years, and we're going to say, oh my gosh, this was a game changer. And so now let's explain.
Yes,
the
let's do it.
scholarships. So we did introduce 2 scholarships, and one is the Washburn Shawnee County Thrives, and that is no matter who you are, if you graduate from a Shawnee County high school, you will and come to Washburn for full-time undergraduate study, you will receive $1,000 a year for 4 years to be able to come to Washburn on top of all of your other scholarships, automatic. And if you choose Washburn Tech, you'll get us up to $750 a year for full-time study at Washburn Tech, whatever that might be. Some of those programs are 6 months, 6 weeks, so it varies. But we're very excited about that. And that applies, the Washburn Tech Scholarship also applies to high school students.
Great.
So if you're a high school student and you're going to Washburn Tech and you have out-of-pocket costs for supplies and those types of things, it will help to cover those. So we're very excited about that. That's
I've got to say too, I mean, Washburn is already, comparatively speaking, is already a fairly affordable university. So this is a huge game changer for students.
It is. Yeah. And then the second scholarship, I'm actually going to let you. Otherwise, I'll talk.
Promise, right?
So the Promise program is it's what we call a last dollar scholarship. So we close the gap. So if a student has a Pell Grant or other scholarships, say from the Topeka Community Foundation, will close the gap between that and the total cost of tuition. And so that's exciting, because what that means is a significant number of students now are going to come to Washburn tuition free. And to your point about Washburn being affordable, it really is. And probably the best way to understand that is around this question of fees. A lot of universities, have tuition and fees.
Yeah.
Washburn, and those fees can run sometimes into the thousands of dollars.
They can rack up.
Yeah, they really can. And Washburn, we don't have fees, right? So the student government has a very minimal fee. I think it's $110 a year for student activities. But the university doesn't have fees. We don't charge for parking. We don't charge for health services. We don't charge for computer access. So for us, our tuition price is the price. Yeah. So we're closing the gap, so people don't have to worry about coming to Washburn. And we're not saying to them, come to Washburn, we'll pay your tuition free, but we're going to hit you with $4,000 worth of fees. So this is a big deal, and we're just glad to be here and talking about it.
I want to add one thing to what you said. So that is the Promise Scholarship applies to families or individual students with family income of $75,000 or less.
Right. Yep.
And that was going to be our next question. You're just a mastermind. You're predicting all of our questions. So in terms of that eligibility, then what is the eligibility for the Thrives? You just talked about Promise. How does that differ?
Thrive is not an income-based at all. It is automatic, no matter what your background is, no matter what school you graduate from, how much other scholarships you have, how much money your family makes, doesn't matter.
And for both the Thrives and Promise, we're talking tuition specific, right? We're not talking like room and board and books, or help me understand that.
So the Thrive is on top of whatever scholarships they already have, and it can go towards any expense associated with attending Washburn University. The Promise is different. The Promise is really us trying to make sure that tuition is covered. And then they can get other scholarships, those types of things. But that's our focus, is tuition.
Yeah. So the Thrives, there's a young man who's coming to Washburn next year who graduated from Shawnee County High School. He got what's called a Ritchie Scholarship. Ritchie Scholarship is a full tuition scholarship. The Thrive Scholarship will sit on top of that and go towards his housing cost in the residence halls.
Wow. That's extremely exciting. And how can people apply for these scholarships? Is there a website? What's that process like?
Just apply to Washburn University. That's all you have to do. There's no separate application. You apply to Washburn University, and we'll do the work. We'll work with your transcript. You already tell us where you live. We do all the work, so there's no separate application. The website, you go to washburn.edu Promise and washburn.edu Thrives, and it's all right there. So.
Talk about streamlined, right?
I know. The integration is amazing.
Incredible. And the fact that you guys, that seems very intentional, right? To make it as easy as possible for folks to capitalize on this money so that they can further their education.
That's right. And so often, some of these students that are going to be affected, especially by the Promise Scholarship, are first-generation students, and navigating the financial aid process can be very confusing. and we wanted to make it as simple as possible. And Dr. Bearman and his team have created a pretty seamless approach, and we will be providing support all the way along to make sure students don't get stuck and aren't able to get that scholarship.
Yeah, that's a great point. So what I would tell anyone who listens to this podcast is when you get ready to apply, you don't have to do it on your own. You can. I mean, you can do it at home at the dining room table with a family, or you can come visit us and we'll walk you through the process. So you never have to do it alone. And for many of these students, as soon as their application hits our system, they're going to get some outreach that helps them make sure they really understand how easy this process is, both in the, as they move from applying to enrolled. And we're going to make sure for these students who come to us, these first generation students, like Dr. Mazachek said, we're going to make sure they get a lot of help in the transition process. We're a nationally renowned school for our work with first generation students and for students in the transition process. So even once you get there, the commitment is not just to give you money to pay your tuition. Commitment is to help you successfully transition and graduate from Washburn University.
That's incredible. I mean, it sounds like Washburn is really setting a standard here, not only from an affordability standpoint, but from an accessibility standpoint, right? So that's a really cool dynamic to see playing out hand in hand. Well, in several of our Topeka Talk episodes, we've talked about how we as a community recruit and retain our workforce locally, and that, of course, is a persistent challenge for communities across the country. But we're not unique in that challenge. But I do want to kind of hone into why it was important for the university to focus specifically on Topeka and Shawnee County students, right? And kind of, as you said, Dr. Mazachek, during the announcement, doubling down on your commitment to students locally and just kind of, hopefully building a homegrown workforce that will continue to grow Topeka and Shawnee County into the future. Can you kind of give us some insight on that, on why it was important to focus on local students?
So I appreciate that question. And I will tell you, this has been a dream of ours for a number of years. We've been trying to talk about how we would be able to accomplish this, because what we know is if you look at Shawnee County and you look at the fact that you have an institution that's been here for 158 years, and you look around at who our leaders are, who our businesses hire, we know that if we get students to Washburn University, the likelihood that we're going to have the very best workforce in the future right here in Shawnee County is a lot greater.
Right.
And so we knew, and I've been involved with Momentum. I was involved with Momentum 2022. I was involved with Momentum 2027, still am. And I believe that we're at the root of everything is how strong our workforce is, because that's what attracts businesses. That's what makes sure that we have jobs, and that's how we grow. And so I've always been committed to how do we make sure that Washburn's best serving this community. And we have to keep our students here, because once they leave, it's harder to get them back. And so we wanted to make sure that we were doing everything to make it possible for students to attend and get an education and be prepared to hit the ground running with their education immediately, just right here in Topeka, Kansas, Shawnee County. And so this is our commitment to the future of Shawnee County and to growth here in Shawnee County. And we're going to do everything that we can to provide the best and highly educated workforce that we possibly can. And we're not finished. This is our first start. And so we are super excited about being able to start this train out of the station. And we're going to see great things in the future.
Well, and I do love that you mentioned Momentum, right? Because we're in the midst of our Momentum 2027 community strategy right now. And it truly is a community strategy. So it's cool to see Washburn kind of setting an example as this is how we're going to do our part to move Momentum forward. It's almost like a challenge in a sense, right?
Yeah, yes. Well, I have to tell you, India, I don't know if you know it, but I was in the Momentum 2022, I was the Homegrown Talent Pillar. I led that effort.
It's all makes sense.
No, I've been thinking about this for a number of years and what the special role is that we could play to make sure that we're able to achieve what we want to achieve.
And Dr. Mazachek, you mentioned this has been sort of a dream for a while. I want to take a moment just to back up to like the 30,000 foot level. How exactly did this idea come to be? Was it always in this form, or did it kind of take form into the Thrives and Promise Scholarship? How did we get here?
So, Dr. Bearman will have some things to add too, but this actually is something that we've been thinking about. We did not have form until really we started working on this a couple days after I arrived,
2 days.
and had a
How cool is that?
That's actually incredible if you think about it, because you've only been there for a few months. I mean, true. I mean, really doing the work on the ground. So that's incredible.
Yes, it took a tremendous effort and lift by our team, and especially Dr. Bearman's team, to do all of the analysis and actually to get the processes implemented. But this is something that we've been watching and determining how we could best do it. And we've been, I don't think we had a dream for a promise scholarship per se, but I've been exposed to that. Dr. Bearman's been exposed to that, and you're going to see more and more of these come out across the country. And we just had a way that we knew how to finance it. And so we're in a great place right now and feel like this is something that we've been dreaming about doing. The Thrive Scholarship is something we've talked about quite a bit, but we're a
promise just kind of came to be. Yeah.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
I think a couple of things worth noting, right? So there are efforts like this occurring in pockets all over the country. So we were well aware of those. We've been watching those. We've been sitting around for some time talking about, boy, wouldn't it be cool if Washburn as a municipal university could do this in partnership with its community? And then our search committee that hired our new president did something truly wonderful and pulled Dr. Mazachek home. And because of that, on day 2, we're ready to go. Right? She says, Dr. Bearman, you and your team, let's do something. Let's make a big splash. And because we've worked together for a number of years, I knew what she meant. And because I knew about her commitment to Washburn, her commitment to Topeka and Shawnee County. So I was able to go to my team, and I have an amazing group of colleagues who were ready to do this, who wanted to make a big splash, who are committed to Topeka and Shawnee County. So the stars aligned, and away we went. And we worked pretty quickly. We went through multiple versions, multiple drafts. It was not like, so what we announced was not the first draft, but the stars aligned, and away we went. So.
Yeah, and I'm a financial accountant person, so we did a lot of detail, didn't we?
We did. I'm a 17th century historian who have learned to read Excel spreadsheets.
Members of history, here we are.
So I do want to share one other thing that I think is unique too. And we were probably so committed to this because our founding fathers for Washburn University, they were all about education for all. No matter your gender, your race, your socioeconomic background, your religion, no matter what they felt like education should be available for everyone. We have been committed to that since our founding.
Yep.
And so the Promise Scholarship fit as part of who we are, what we have been for 158 years, creating opportunities for students that might not otherwise have opportunities. And it is something that we're just so excited that we've been able to do. I want to be bold and go out and say we're going to be looking for ways to make it possible for more students to be able to take advantage of that. I'm aware of, even though I was only gone for a short time, I'm now aware of communities where this can occur when they have higher incomes than $75,000. And we'll be thinking about how we can grow that so that there isn't anyone in Shawnee County that can't afford to go to get their higher education, whether it's technical school or at Washburn University.
Amazingly powerful to hear that from you.
That is
truly,
yeah, it really is. It's wonderful, and it's been a few weeks since this big announcement. Of course, you've kind of touched a little bit, talking about the high school student and stuff like that. You've talked a little bit about kind of the reaction from the community, but I'd love to dive into that a little bit more. I mean, what has that reaction been like from community members, stakeholders, university students? I mean, across the board, what are you hearing?
So I've been at Washburn for 20 years. And this is, I would tell you, and I live right next to campus, this is the first time in years my neighbors have come up and hugged me because I'm not very good at mowing the yard. My neighbors are excited. Every community member I walk into is excited. People at church are excited. But I would tell you the response from students and their families has really been a little bit overwhelming. We've got students who had applied to university who are on the fence about, can I go, can I not go? They want to go to university. They know the life-changing impact of education. They were genuinely concerned about the cost, and they're coming off the fence. We've got new applications coming in. So the word momentum has been used quite a bit today, but it's given us some momentum. And that's momentum for Washburn, momentum for Topeka and Shawnee County, because people understand how big this is. And it's exciting to be part of something big. So colleagues across the campus are really excited about this because, like Dr. Mazachek said, this is the Washburn story. This is who we are. This is our identity, access and success, opportunity for everyone. And I haven't met anyone yet who's not genuinely excited about this. They realize how big the impact is.
So true. I want to add one thing to that. I want to talk about success. I mean, that's the other pillar that I would add: affordability, access, and success. We are so dedicated to making sure our students are able to achieve their educational goals and dreams. And we've been focused on that for the last 14 years. And we've had tremendous strides in the last 6 years. And we have the highest graduation rates of any comprehensive regional university in the state. We're the top-ranked comprehensive regional university right here in Shawnee County, Topeka, Kansas. And we know that that's because of our dedication to student success and to creating affordable options for students to be able to go to school. And we are so committed to those pillars, and we are going to continue to improve that going forward.
And you guys may or may not know this, but we already had, before this announcement, our graduates already had the 5th lowest debt.
I did not know that.
That's incredible. I didn't know that either.
In the Midwest.
So this is going to push debt down even further.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and I'm curious too, just since we've got the enrollment guru in the room.
Yeah.
How do you expect these scholarships to impact your enrollment numbers in the years to come?
We are hopeful and anticipating them to help increase enrollment at Washburn University.
And as we kind of move to wrap up our conversation today, Dr. Mazachek, you're now a couple months into the role. We've talked about that, mentioned that here today. You've also kind of teased that, this was just the first splash, right? Day 2, moving right along. What are some of the other kind of splashes or things on the horizon? And I know there might be some exciting things that you're not yet prepared or able to talk about, but what can people expect from you, from your leadership team with Dr. Bearman and others as we move through kind of this new era at Washburn?
Well, I'm not ready to kind of expose some of what our ideas will be coming forward, but I will say we are going to go through a significant strategic planning process in the fall, so you will be hearing more about that as we go forward. We did release a campus plan that is going to drive a lot of our activities and is going to transform not only our campus, but transform some of our programs. But what you can expect from us is we are going to be full of action. We're going to be looking to make things the best that they can possibly be. We're going to be working alongside the community. We're going to be an outstanding community partner because we know that when Shawnee County wins, Washburn wins. And when Washburn wins, Shawnee County wins. And so we expect to be a strong partner in everything that is positive going forward. And we're going to be looking for ways that we can support whatever growth needs to happen in our city and in our county, so that we become the fastest growing county in the state of Kansas.
Thank you for sharing that vision.
I love that so much. And it's exciting to feel, I talked earlier about the energy in the room during that announcement, but I mean, I'm getting excited. There's energy.
Yeah, we
from me
here right now. There's 4 of us in here. We're thrilled.
So this is really amazing. And as we kind of wrap up our conversation today, Dr. Mazachek, Dr. Bearman, do any of you or do either of you have kind of final thoughts for our listeners on the path forward or just general considerations when it comes to the scholarship?
So I would just tell any family in Topeka and Shawnee County who is considering where their children or grandchildren or their neighbors' children are going to go to university to come visit Washburn, to give us a call. Our campus, it's a beautiful campus. If you haven't been on campus recently, it's absolutely gorgeous. But come visit us, come talk to us, and we'll help find you a pathway to success that in many cases will be simply life-changing, because Washburn is a special place in a special community, Topeka. So.
That's wonderful. Well, and I got to say, the Washburn campus is only getting more beautiful, right? I mean,
yes.
New investments rolling in.
Yep.
It's incredible to see the community working so closely with the university to really drive progress there. So very exciting.
Well, thank you very much for having us on today and for being able to talk about the exciting things that we're doing at Washburn. And I would just tell people to watch out. We're going to keep doing some amazing things and making a difference in this community and and for the people of Shawnee County and the state of Kansas.
Thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to having you back on the podcast for the many exciting things ahead.
Yes, it's been an honor to have you guys.
Thanks for listening. We hope you'll join us next time.
You can catch new episodes of Topeka Talk Community Conversations the first week of each month. Hi, I'm Gretchen Spiker with the City of Topeka.
And I'm India Yarborough with the Greater Topeka Partnership.
The Topeka Talk podcast is back for season 2 for more meaningful community conversations.
We've got a great lineup in store, and we're excited to have you along for the ride this season.